25 and a half hours had already lapsed before I was allowed to see my daughter, before I got a chance to call her by name. I know how I'm used to this. The waiting, the unknowing, the dark, the quiet that is so loud that no one hears me. On the second day, I learned many things. In her first night out of my body, she forgot to breathe 22 times. She would not be given milk for the next 4 days. There were physical body parts that still needed developing. There was new vocabulary like isolate, gavage, Brady, residual, adjusted age, PIC line, colostrum. I didn't ask what any of it meant. I learned everything through context. I lived through context, and this would be no different. On the third day, I saw her face for the first time. She was my grandfather 85 years later. I understood the message. She was strong, she would survive, he would live through her. On the fourth day, they taught me how to change her. It wasn't that I'd never changed a baby before, it was the size of her. 940 grams of mustard seed. I was taught a new kind of delicate, a new kind of faith. On the seventh day, I was released. Without her, without ever having held her, with documents about all the medication I had to take, with a video I had to watch about how not to shake the baby I couldn't take home with me. On the eighth day, I held her for the first time. Inside my shirt, skin to skin, 6 wires trailing behind her. They said this would make her stronger, that she would remember this body, this heartbeat, but not the fear, not the anxiety, never the loneliness. On the 11th day, I recorded my voice in poems and songs and prayers so she could listen while I was away. On the 11th day, she pooped for the first time. Look how we were already learning to let things go together. On the 12th day, she cried out for food. It made me think of emptiness, of privilege, of the way I never let hunger sit long enough in my belly for me to give it a name, or a home, or an invitation to return. On the 20th day, they found a heart murmur, said that maybe a valve didn't close right. I tried to tell them that it was her inheritance, that my side of the family have hearts that love a little harder, so they beat a little extra and hurt a little longer. I was already wishing she had chosen her father's heart instead. On the 23rd day, she wore clothes for the first time. Preemie, doll-sized. They swam on her, but it was my first glimpse at normalcy. On the 36th day, I took home her first bag of laundry. I rode the M15 bus feeling like a conch shell, a heavy spiral keeping the softest parts unseen. I know if I had let someone put their mouth to me, if I had allowed any other breath than mine inside, there would have been a hollowed sound of longing. On the 37th day, she pulled out her feeding tube. On the 37th day, I breastfed her for the first time. On the 37th day, I felt like her mother because she needed me for something. On the 42nd day, I gave her a bath under the careful watch of a nurse, washed and combed her hair, and sang like we were not in the hospital, like we were the only ones alive, like it was normal for her to be this tiny, like panic wasn't dancing under my flesh, a raw stitching waiting for a snag. I sang a patois song I didn't even know I remembered. I didn't know who I was then. I'm not sure I know who I am now, except for a whirl of memories. For 49 nights, I slept on my back with a small brown teddy bear on my chest, a meager way to teach my body to be still, to prepare for her, to be ready. And on the 50th day, when she weighed 4 pounds and 3 ounces, when it was still 5 weeks until her due date, I took Milan home.
Cobbler, cobbler, mend my shoe. Get it done by 2:30. 2:30 is much too late. Get it done by 8:30.
Nobody tells you that sometimes having a baby makes you raw and open. It exposes you, makes every emotion a live wire and your body is water, makes you a well and everyone is thirsty, makes your throat dry and your voice a bruise. You are a grave. Your mother is digging, your daughter is laughing. You are the hole, the shovel, the dirt, just depends on who's telling the story. From the beginning, she harbored a peace I knew didn't come from me. She spared me all the new baby nightmares. I showered every day, I cleaned, I ate, and when she slept, I slept. In the months outside the NICU, we were unafraid of the outdoors. We sat in playgrounds and rode the subways and yellow cabs. She barely cried and I was never exhausted. I was alone with her most of the time, and it was the most inexplicably, deliriously, wonderful and necessary thing. We spent the rest of the summer meeting family and sucking on pineapples and mangoes and grapefruits. In fall, she met her daddy, and I watched them fall in love. I felt my heart do strange things. They couldn't take their eyes off each other, and I was fascinated, not knowing my father made this a new world for me. I was witness to a sacredness I almost didn't understand. I mean, did she not grow in my belly? Did she not only learn my voice, and my hands, and my smell? But here she was, smitten by the man who had lived in my heart for so long. He was hers now. In December, we flew to Dominica. She sucked on a chicken bone for the first time only minutes after we landed and fell asleep in the breeze to town. She was baptized on a Sunday morning in the mountains. We gave her to God and asked Him to do with her what He pleased. We spent Christmas in the sun and New Year's at the beach. What many people did not know is that I flew back alone. For 6 months when I finished school, she lived with her father 2,000 miles across the sea. Most people thought I was crazy, but he is a man I trust with my life. His promise and responsibility. So in those months, when I missed her achingly, I've loved her through him, through technology, through memory. We have watched her smile and babble and reach for things and crawl and stand and grow teeth and get Zika and laugh and splash and dance. My God, you should see her dance and love and love and love. I'm seeing my baby do everything I was worried she wouldn't be able to. She's healthy and happy, and I am so overwhelmingly grateful. My daughter is River, unpredictable, to be feared, to be loved, to know of sink and buoyancy, stillness and urgency, to swallow rain and call it sky. It's God's plan. There is no other explanation of how she's here today. You have to understand I knew nothing of strength until I met her. Everybody tells you that sometimes having a baby makes you full in a way you didn't know you were empty. Makes you a calypso that only the baby can sing. Makes you unlearn the way you let people love you. Makes you a morning even when it is night, which means it makes you joy. Makes you sunrise and roosters and beginnings all the time. You are a mother, which is to say, you are a mirror, a window, a door. It just depends on who's looking.